A lot of people in crypto still think loans are risky, but crypto loans aren't about going into debt. They are about accessing liquidity without having to sell your crypto, because a lot of people have long-term crypto portfolios that they don't want to sell, but sometimes they just need to be able to access liquidity. And so with crypto lending, you could buy dips without selling your Bitcoin, Ethereum, or altcoins that you really don't want to sell. You can enter new opportunities extremely quickly, and you could cover expenses without touching your HODL portfolios. So recently, there's been a big problem with crypto lending, and that is that many platforms have been reusing customer assets. And this is exactly what we saw happen with platforms like Celsius, BlockFi, and Voyager back in 2022. And these platforms just completely fell apart as billions of dollars in user funds just vanished. And there is a huge problem in this space over the past few years, because after the 2022 collapse, you'd think that centralized finance would have learned its lesson, but recent research from BN Crypto, from Galaxy Digital, from some of the biggest names in the crypto space show otherwise. And so a large part of the market, including like Nexo, Binance, and a few other platforms, they still reuse customer collateral to fund operations and generate profit. And that means that when you deposit crypto onto a lot of different platforms out there, which right now there's over $17.78 billion in active loans, when people deposit this money onto some of these platforms, the platform controls it, and this model has already proven to be terrible for crypto investors, with like BlockFi, Voyager, and all these platforms just completely disappearing over the last few years. So recently, I have been doing a lot of research onto the best crypto lending platforms out there, and platforms that simply don't reuse customer funds behind their back, because that is the absolute worst thing that I've seen happen in crypto. And so recently, I came across CoinRabbit. CoinRabbit has a ton of unique features. First of all, they don't reuse customer funds, which is the most important thing. But like that, they also have cold storage with multi-sig. You can access funds in like 10 minutes or less. There's full user control of assets, and they've been operating since 2020 with 24/7 monitoring. There's email and SMS alerts as well. So for CoinRabbit, they have over 344 different currencies. You can start with as little as $100. There's no credit check required, and they have top tier security and cold wallet storage. So the cool thing about this platform is that they offer a number of different ways where you can access liquidity without having to sell your crypto. You can see they have loan, trade, and earn. So they have these three. These are like their three main features and products. Their savings account, just trading, and loan. But loan is what I use this platform primarily for. So a few things about it is that if we take a look at how it actually works, you can see that with this platform, you can go about making a loan. Let's say you want to do BTC. You put one BTC as collateral. You could change it to 50, 65%. You could change the duration, and you can see all of the monthly interest rates and monthly interest. It shows you everything just directly here from their main page. But if we go a little bit deeper and look into their platform, we click on my wallet, you can go to loans, and you can see a little bit more in depth of how this actually works and try out a few different scenarios before you go about actually taking a loan. So the way it works is you need to put collateral on their platform. You could do that with BTC, Ethereum, XRP, hundreds of different cryptos you can use as collateral. Then what you're going to do is you take a loan against it. You could say you want 90%, 80%, 65%, or 50%. And this is just the loan to value ratio. This ratio is related to the difference between the loan amount, so the money that you're actually receiving, and the current market value of whatever you're using as collateral. So the higher the LTV, the little bit higher risk, because ultimately, let's say you use one BTC, and currently Bitcoin is worth $100,000 per token. If you go about taking out $90,000 in liquidity, you could do that. But the risk is that if Bitcoin's price drops below that $90,000, well, then you're going to be required to pay back that loan, and you can, be at risk for liquidation. So ultimately, there's nothing to worry about with taking loans if you stick on this lower LTV range, especially for like Bitcoin, because you could just access small amounts of liquidity and not have to sell anything. So you could take out, 10,000, 50,000, 30,000, and not have to worry about about selling your Bitcoin, they'll just keep it as collateral in the account until you pay it back, and then you get your Bitcoin back. On top of this, they even have a VIP program, which is for users who want to borrow large amounts. CoinRabbit ultimately offers special conditions like discounts, a personal manager, and tailored solutions to match your financial objectives, which they talk about all on the VIP program page. So ultimately, CoinRabbit allows you to borrow against hundreds of different cryptocurrencies, and it is one of the most simple and easy to use platforms out there. They don't require any credit checks when traditional loans do. Interest rates are very competitive in the industry. They offering rates as competitive as 16% APR. In terms of accessibility, it is extremely accessible. You can get loans in 10 minutes or less, and that is impossible with traditional loans, which could take a month or more. And in terms of like regulation, it's continually evolving and it isn't as heavily regulated as traditional loans, which allows the process to be a bit faster. So ultimately, there's a ton of exciting things going on in the lending space. Currently, there's around $17 to $18 billion in centralized finance loans, and CoinRabbit is the one platform that I've seen out there that when you put collateral on their platform, they're not using it. They are completely transparent about this. You could see all of the information on their website about how they use funds, where funds go, how you can access money, what LTVs you can do. Everything is completely transparent on CoinRabbit, and that is something that I really like about their platform because I have used it personally to get liquidity from my long-term Bitcoin holdings, and it makes it so simple and so easy. So if you go ahead and use my link, you'll get 0.5% on your first loan. You can get funded in 10 minutes or less, and it's definitely worth checking out, especially if you are a long-term holder in the crypto space and you don't want to have to sell your HODL positions.